And just like that, the Detroit Lions victory over the New York Giants is short-lived. We got to go right into Week 13 as we prepare to host the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving at Ford Field, a game that is a must-win for the Detroit Lions. I recall some in the comment section back when we played the Kansas City Chiefs that was a game, quote, we could afford to lose. If you were one in the comment section, you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. Well, that one game is the difference between being in the playoffs and being the third seed. Right now, there is a half game difference between the third seed Chicago Bears and the 8th seed Detroit Lions. There's also, I think, a half game between the wild card Green Bay Packers and the 8th seed Detroit Lions. So never, ever, ever, like ever, say that a game you can afford to lose any game in the National Football League. If that was the case, there would not be a 10% chance to make the playoffs or a 12% chance to make the playoffs at 0-2. Speaking of 0-2, the Chicago Bears have began 0-2, and look where they are. This is insane, but it's gonna be this is when like the real football begins on Thanksgiving Day. But we're going to do a segment that has been doing pretty well on this channel. Typically, I do them after a loss. This will be the first win, the first one I'll do after a win. And we got a couple topics, and one is going to be really spicy. It's going to be really spicy. I can't wait to kind of hear what you guys have to say. The first one is it an overreaction to say that it was a mistake trading away Tim Patrick? Is it an overreaction to say it was a mistake trading away Tim Patrick? No, it is not a mistake. That is 100% not an overreaction. It is a very, very reaction that you should have. It really is, because a very, very reaction you should have. It is 100% a valid reaction. The Detroit Lions have been struggling to get a wide receiver 3 involved. We traded up for Isaac Tesla, who was doing his thing in the preseason, but we trade away Tim Patrick for what I thought was the emergence of Isaac Tesla, except we're not really using him. Now, you could say it was John Morton for the first several weeks of the NFL season, but now it seems like he's getting a little bit more involved, but really not. He has not made any impact whatsoever on the offense for the Detroit Lions. Now, Tim Patrick, however, if you were going to do that with Isaac, you should have kept Tim. You have wide receiver number 1, which is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's battling a wrist injury. You have Jamison Williams, who single-handedly lost me in my fantasy team yesterday. I had Jahmyr Gibbs on the team. I had Jamison Williams on the bench until Dan Campbell took over play calling. I left him on the bench because I didn't know Dan Campbell did. I brought him. He scored 21 points. He had 23 fantasy points. I put him back out there. Not again. He might be my A.J. Brown until I see what our new coordinator can do. So, but our wide receiver 3 is non-existent. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and then it was Sam Laporta. And now with Sam Laporta lost for the season, we need a legitimate wide receiver number 3. Khalif Raymond got involved yesterday. I mean, we spreading the ball around. It was a mistake to trade away Tim Patrick. So it's not a real overreaction to say that it was a mistake, because I 100% believe it was a mistake. Not only did it get us a 6th-round pick that may or may not be any value to this team, unless we get a Malcolm Rodriguez or something like that, or shoot, even an Al-Qadim Muhammad. He was a 6th-round pick, just not our 6th-round pick. We are not using a 3rd wide receiver right now like we should be. So it is not an overreaction. This is something I wanted to talk about as well. Is it an overreaction to say that it was too early to pay Aidan? Is it an overreaction to say it was too early to pay Aidan Hutchinson? I'm going to say yes, that is an overreaction. Aidan Hutchinson is sitting at 10th. He is 9th or 10th in sacks in the NFL this season. Out of all the defensive ends, he's either 9th or 10th. It's one of the two, sitting at 8.5. There is a 10-sack difference between the sack leader, Myles Garrett, and Aidan. I love Aidan Hutchinson, but he's not on the level yet of Myles Garrett. But he also has, Myles Garrett has 4 years on him. 4. He has what? 2017 was Myles. So he's got a significant experience different. I could see Aidan getting himself in a similar stratosphere of Myles Garrett. But Aidan not only has the track record, but he is still, even coming off an injury, once again, the Detroit Lions sack leader. Once again, from the time Aidan has been drafted, from his rookie season at 9.5 to his sophomore season at 11.5 to his injury season at 7.5 to now his comeback season at 8.5 has always led the Detroit Lions in sacks. No, it was not too early to pay him. It was only going to get more for Brad the longer he waited. Now, it's not too many people you could have paid more, but Aidan deserved every dollar of it because Lord knows he works for every single dollar. Now, this one is not about the Detroit Lions, but kind of about the Detroit Lions. Is it an overreaction to say that the Detroit Lions lost the Matthew Stafford trade? Is it an overreaction to say that the Detroit Lions lost the Matthew Stafford trade? I'm going to say that it is not an overreaction. Of course, Matthew Stafford, that trade got us Jahmyr Gibbs, 100%. And we saw what that boy could do. We saw what that young man could do. I don't want to sound like I'm being disrespectful. But no matter how good a individual player is, or no matter how good the collection of players are that you get from a trade, the ultimate goal of the trade was to win the Super Bowl. And not only have the Rams won the Super Bowl, but they are on pace to win another one. They are my NFC Super Bowl favorites. And that kills me inside. I literally lost 5 years of my life saying that. So I don't think it's an overreaction at all. Because while one team was trying to get better and dig out of despair, one team was trying to win a Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. So I know that a lot of Detroit Lions fans are going to try to use reason as to, well, if we didn't trade, blah, 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 then we wouldn't have had yada, yada. Look, both teams benefited from the trade, but who won the trade? It is not an overreaction to say that the Los Angeles Rams won the Matthew Stafford trade. Now, here is probably, and I saved this one for last, this is my favorite overreaction question or point. Is it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes is not the guy that will take us to the promised land, take us to and win us a Super Bowl? Is it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes is not the guy that will take the Detroit Lions to the Super Bowl win? It is not an overreaction to say that. It's not. Let me bring up something that I saw today from Pat McAfee. They have a segment. I don't watch Pat McAfee, but I saw this clip on Twitter. They have a segment on Mondays. I don't want to overreact, but that W felt like an L. OT on a short week to beat the Giants. Now they'll lose to the Packers on Thanksgiving, as is tradition. Lose to the Rams in a couple of weeks. Brad needs to stop smelling his own unity and actually improve this team in the offseason one pride. That might be the first person that I've seen openly. Well, no, that would be an overreaction. It is rare. I'll put it like this. It is rare that you see anyone up until this season, specifically the last few weeks. And I think what did it was the trade deadline. It is rare that you have heard anyone outside of me and a few other occasional Lions creators criticize Brad Holmes and his decision making. We will give credit where it is due, which is the drafting of Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Aidan Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, all knocking it out the park. But if you look at after, I'm calling him a pedestrian GM. Brad Holmes is pedestrian to me. He's not the superhero you thought he was. Because you take away the Penei Sewell pick, which was knocked out the park, took that guy, could have taken Micah Parsons, didn't, took Penei Sewell. Great, fine, fantastic pick. You have two additional first-round picks. That is what the foundation of this team was built off of. The Matthew Stafford, LA Rams first-round picks. But after that was said and done, literally after that was said and done, after you traded or drafted Sam Laporta in the second round of 2023, you whiffed on the second half of the 2023 NFL draft. With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, you know the rest. 2024, the first two rounds, underwhelming. Ennis hasn't played at all. You know what I'm saying? I look at it at all. He hasn't played much. And Terrion is a work in progress. Then you go to Tyleik Williams for 2025. Mighty pedestrian, he's looking. And it's not too many people outside of maybe a surprisingly good 6th-round offensive lineman that you can really vault up for 2023, 2024, and 2025. I think with the 2025 draft class, it's too early. I will give you that. But while Brad Holmes is staying quiet at the trade deadline, Howie Roseman is publicly speaking about why they make the moves, why they traded for Jalen Phillips. And you are quiet at the trade deadline. There's a reason Brad didn't want to say anything. There's a reason that Brad had Dan answering questions that were reserved for him. You got a lot to say during the offseason, big dog. Where was you at the trade deadline? So isn't it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes is not the guy to take us to a Super Bowl? Absolutely not an overreaction. A 125 million% valid reaction. And we're going to see. Let me ask you guys a question in the comment section. This is a safe space, at least for y'all. It ain't for me. Y'all can't stand your boy, man. But that's all right, because I start growing on you. I start growing on you because you see and you respect the fact that I stand on business, and I may be right. I win a lot of y'all over by standing on business. That's the integrity of just not backing down. You stand on what you believe, right or wrong, and you own up to it. You live up to it. You live with whatever the results are going to be. The LA Rams didn't have a first-round pick for 4 years. It might have been more than that. I think it was 4, and they tried to give up 2 more first-round picks for Brian Burns. But the Carolina Panthers, in all their brilliance, decided not to do that. But they traded for Jalen Ramsey, 2 first-round picks. They traded for Matthew Stafford, a 33-year-old quarterback who had won no playoff games in Detroit, and then not only proceed to win the Super Bowl the same year, but also are in heavy contention and most likely favorites, at least on the NFC side, to win it again. They did all of this they won a Super Bowl without a first-round pick for 2 years before that. And with giving up those 4 first-round picks in 4 years, they have remained in contention this is year number 5. And the LA Rams have remained in legitimate contention since they made the trade. They have actually done more than us. Year 1, Super Bowl, ultimate goal. Year 2, missed the playoffs. Year 3, we put them out. Year 4, they went further than us. And year 5, yet to be determined. Outside of us putting out the Rams, they have done more than us. But I think, of course, they won the Super Bowl. So you guys have noticed that, and this should not be a surprise for you, that there is a particular person that is in my crosshairs. That's it. There's one person that is in my crosshairs. And I'm going to tell you what really did it in for me and really kind of made me look at this person sideways is the bravado of you wearing a positional value villain hoodie. You get it made. You wear it. You flaunt your Jahmyr Gibbs pick, which, by the way, is Brad Holmes' calling card. That's his claim to fame. His claim to fame with the Detroit Lions is the Jahmyr Gibbs pick, when the entire internet was ridiculing him for the pick. Like, I wasn't. You can go ahead and check the tape. I was not. I was mad. I was upset about J-Mo because we needed a D-line, and he was hurt, and I knew he wasn't going to have any effect on his team year one. And just who would have ever thought that literally 3 years later, almost 4, I'm talking about the same exact thing. I wouldn't if you told me 3 years ago. But you wear a positional value hoodie and then you disappear at the trade. You disappear, bro. That was you standing on business, right? You standing on business. You wear a villain hoodie, a positional value villain hoodie, and then you run and hide at the trade deadline? And some of y'all in the comment section, well, he didn't do anything. Why would he speak at the trade deadline? What do you mean, why would he speak at the trade deadline? It's literally when you speak at the trade, when the GM speaks. The typical GM speaks in the offseason, at the trade deadline, if somebody gets fired, if somebody gets hired, and then after the season. But you had Dan Campbell talk for you. You were supposed to be answering the questions about why you didn't make a move at the trade deadline in any regard. But you let Dan answer those questions. But that's okay, because there's going to be a lot for you to answer to in the offseason. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think any of these were overreactions? Am I overreacting? They say I am. I don't think I am. I'm a fan. I'm not an overreactor. I'm not that at all. I kind of been on the right path, right? You know how gratifying it is to hear about the pass rush? Because when we were second in sacks, by the way, we're down to 8 now. You know how gratifying it is for me to hear that, Derek, you were right? And it ain't even an ego thing. It's like, dog, look at the numbers. AQM is not going to turn from a 6-sack guy, a 6.5-sack guy, to a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's not going to happen. It's not a thing. AQM is not going to go 3 games now missing from sacking the quarterback, blowing a 3rd and 17 whiff yesterday to an elite pass rusher. It doesn't happen. It's not mathematically possible. All based on the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. That is always based on the numbers. Based on numbers sprinkled with emotion. Because I am a fan, after all. I'm not a person who jumps out of a chair as a fake reaction. Unbelievable. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. The air is different, man. It's different. It is different this year. And it's going to get a lot different in the offseason if the Detroit Lions fall short of a Super Bowl. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. You know we had to talk a little bit today.